Wrap up. Yeah. Thank you.
I remember a couple of years ago, he called me one day and he shared with me something beautiful he saw, like a documentary, and he was telling me about the possibility of growing plants without soil and everything, coming from a legal perspective. And with the kind of background that I had, of course, I found it a little bit, I had a little bit of disbelief, but I listened to him with an open mind because I've known him to be visionary, and I know that if he's talking about something, possibly he has done his homework, and I listened to him. And that was where, personally, my own sojourn, even into the agribusiness world today, started.
Pastor Debo Onafowora came in contact with the Technology Incubation Program as far back as 2014, when he came on board with a series of ideas, a lot of energy, and a passion for entrepreneurship. Over the years, BIC Farms Concepts has transformed through various products, various concepts, and eventually has moved to establish what is called an hydroponics technology farms concept, whereby he is striving to address the issue of food shortage in Nigeria.
Most farmers are above 50. Young people don't want to be called, in fact, to be seen with farming. Farming was punitive. When somebody commits an offense in school, it happened to me myself, and you want to punish that person. You give them cutlass or a hoe, you tell them to go and cut the field, you send them to the school farm. They were using farming to punish people. So young people naturally don't want to be farmers. Now, how can you explain the fact that Nigeria is the youngest country in the world? The average age of a Nigerian is 25. Yeah, the average age of farmers is around 60. You can't correlate that. Young people with all their energy, all their creativity are not interested in farming. They're interested in cybercrime. So it's actually terrible. So these concerns were giving me some serious headache, and sometimes in 2013, I was in my sitting room studying. So I got tired, and then I can still remember the time was about 10 minutes before 12 p.m. So I just told myself, let me cool off my head, and I switch on the TV set. So I changed the channel to CNN. And I just saw a crazy documentary that was ending. I saw that guy carrying something in his hand. Green, lushy. And I said, that's a fodder. Planted without soil. Instead of 90 days on the soil, it took me 9 days to produce this. Man, that caught my attention. The tiredness left, I just came alive. I was like, what? Are you serious at all? So I took my phone, I went on Google. What's soilless farming? What's fodder? Can you grow crop without soil? I now began to see lots of content. I was like, what? Am I still on Earth? Do you mean it's possible to grow crop without soil, guys? That was the first time I was hearing anything about that. So you can actually grow crop without soil. So the sleep left, the tiredness left for hours. I think I did a search overnight, and I was seeing all sorts of things. I was seeing content like the 7 wonders of the ancient world. One of it, the Hanging Garden of Babylon. is a result of soilless hydroponics technology specifically, you know. And I began to see a lot of things. I was like, what? Where have you been? So I was checking content relating to Nigeria. Nothing. Is there soilless farming in Nigeria? Nothing. Who is doing soilless farming in Nigeria? You know, I was just searching. Nothing. But I was seeing a whole lot of content about soilless farming in the US, in Israel, even in South Africa and some other places. So I was like, wow, I think I've stumbled on something.
I listened to him and was talking about how we can actually drive a change, how we can challenge some status quo, how we can actually, you know, let people know that we could actually grow grasses. And at that time, I must hasten to say, it was at the peak period, or when there was a lot of crisis in the country about farmers, herders, you know, how cattle are disrupting farming operations because they need to feed and they need to eat. And I was talking about how we can actually grow grasses. It was fascinating, it was intriguing, you know, but again, I had to listen to everything he had to say. And somehow, I believed it was possible. I believed we could do it. I believe we need to let people know and let people see that we could actually we could pass some knowledge to people, and we could let local farmers know that actually there's a possibility with hydroponics technology. He was also telling me how we could actually convert like a kg of maize, a kg of grains into 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 kg, 10 kg of fodder. Of course, I had to go through my own training and filled in the knowledge gap that I had to, and the journey started from there.
So I began to experiment on how to grow fodder. You'll be amazed at the first set of videos I created on fodder production. They are funny videos, you know. So when I perfected how to produce fodder, just learning online anyway, I watched so many YouTube videos, I read so many things on Google. There were so many challenges. I solved them. Initially, they were forming molds, you know, and I know molds, aflatoxin and all that will affect your animals. So I was just experimenting. It took a long time, but I finally stumbled on how to produce, you know, fodder without challenge, without mold and all that. So I came out and I began to tell some few friends that I think I found something big. And they were like, what is it? Some didn't take it serious, you know, but I didn't keep quiet. In fact, around that time, I went to one of the universities in the Southwest, and I spoke with one of the professors there, and he said it's a waste of my time because Nigeria has so much arable land. Why are you thinking soilless? And I said, Prof, I'm thinking that soilless farming, see the way it captivated me. It will captivate a lot of young people. You know what I'm saying? And the prof said, it's a waste of time. About 2 years after, he came for one of our trainings. And he said he was sorry that he didn't see it coming. Anyway, that was that. So that was how it started. I perfected fodder production, and you know me now. Everything I get to perfect, I start to teach people. So I began to teach a lot of people. I began to train people. I began to tell them, wow. So I think it was at that time that the legal farmer, Barrister Mike came in.
The next challenge for us was, how are we going to let people understand or believe that this idea of growing plants not inside soil but on substrate, how are we going to let them know that it's actually a possibility? So we started by, strategizing. We need to go on air. We need to hold seminars. We need to hold events. And we started from there. You know, people had doubts. People were like, how possible is this? We showed them samples. We would have to travel sometimes from Lagos, from Abeokuta to Abuja and to some parts of the north, where we had serious challenges. Just trying to sell an idea which was not common in the Nigerian and even African setting. People doubted. But gradually, one step at a time, we were able to convince people from the down south to up north. We started holding series of events, started talking about how this is possible, started talking about the advantages in adopting this kind of this model of farming operations and everything. And from 1 person to 2 to 3. I remembered also at that time, the federal government was talking about importing grasses from Brazil. And we're talking within ourselves that, look, we can tell these people, why do you want to bring grasses from Brazil to solve, farmers' elders problem, when we can actually train people, empower youth to actually go into this, teach them, pass information, pass knowledge to them, and let them see the beauty of this technology. We had several meetings that didn't come to fruition in Abuja with some top people in the ministries, but we didn't relent. We didn't give up.
I organized the first set of training on soilless farming in Nigeria. I organized it in Abeokuta. That was in 2014 using Obasanjo Presidential Library. And that training had about 12 people from Benin, Abuja, Kaduna. Nobody from Abeokuta, nobody from Ogun State, nobody from Oyo State. So when we saw the 12 people came, and their complaint was Abeokuta was not easy to be accessed. We had to fly to Lagos, then find a vehicle to Abeokuta. So I spoke with my team and I said, can we find a way to take this training to Lagos? The only thing we perfected as at that time, 100% was fodder. And then we have started to produce some few crops. I think I was growing peppers, and peppers with just water, tomatoes. If you still see that video of one bucket like that had pepper, and it was fascinating, some tomatoes, you see the root in water. We grew some crops, So that was like, wow, if we can do this small thing, we can do the big one. And I told them that, okay, so can we take this training to Lagos? Based on the demand of some of the people that came. They said it was really not convenient for them, and it will do better in Lagos. So we took the challenge, and we took the training to Lagos. I contacted a friend, and then who has an office with a space to sit, I think about 40 people. So I was like, will 40 people come for training? I looked at the logistics and what to view, and I think we set the training fee for 30,000 naira. I think so, yeah. And we chose Lagos, a friend's office at Ogba, and we organized this training, and we publicized it. Then we began to get the alert. Pound 30K. Pound 30K. People are paying, Pound 30K. Then call. Hello, sir. This. We saw your training. I'm coming from Abuja. I'm coming from Sokoto. I'm coming from Borno. I thought you're coming from where? Borno. I'm coming from Kano. Coming from Kaduna. I was like, what's happening here? To cut the long story short, on the day of the training, we had 43 people. 30 from far north. Then somebody said, Lagos is too far for us. Why not come to Abuja? We took the same step of faith. We went to Abuja. And then we had the first train. Bam. Like 50-something people. All from the north. Few from Lagos. So we began to laugh. We had training in Lagos. We didn't come from Lagos. Now you flew from Lagos to Abuja to attend training that we have held several times in Lagos. Nigerians can be funny anyway. So, and at that particular training, that first training in Abuja, somebody came and said, you need to come to my house. I want you to go and meet. You need to follow me somewhere. I want you to go and meet somebody. So myself and my partner, we we decided to follow him. Nigeria was not too dangerous, though a lot of risk. I remember I called somebody and I shared our location. This is where we are. Then we got to Aso Drive, you know, and he was asking, do you know particular number? I said, I don't. He said, you don't know it? I said, I don't. I said, okay. So when we got to that number, ping, ping, on at the gate was open. They drove us in a building. Then it had a sit out, you know. So it took us to the sit out and we sat there. Then some 5 minutes, I guess somebody walked from the main building. As I was coming, I looked. This face looks familiar. And then the man smiled. He smiled and I also smiled. And I was like, come, is it the person I'm thinking about? And my partner touched me. I said, Ribadu. Malam Nuru Ribadu. What? Chicken brought us to Malam Nuru Ribadu's house? What? On this Soilless Farming? Okay. That was how Malam Nuru Ribadu came. The famous EFCC chairman. Wow. So he stood up, shook our hands, and said, young man, I've been following you for over a year. I said, what? Since I started posting on the social media, I've been following you. So when I heard that you are coming to Abuja, I told him to go there. I said, wow. I can still remember vividly. We snapped a picture with a folder tray and he said something. He said, I want to be part of the story. I said, wow. So our first home garden was built in Malam Nuru Ribadu's house in Aso Drive. I can remember we built floating gardens, fodder system, and so many things. That gesture was one of the biggest encouragements for the Soilless Farming story in Nigeria because he believed in it.
We spoke with different groups, we spoke with farmers, we traveled to different places trying to convince them. We had a whole year and even more of trials, doubts, and everything. But the beautiful thing today is what we are seeing today. What we saw as an impossibility, what we saw as what could never, what people saw as what was unbelievable, what was strange, we can see the results today. Today, we have a perfect model. We have learned from our failures. We have grown. We have learned, and we have gotten to a stage where we can tell people categorically that, look, with this principle, you can do things this way, you can do these things, things this way. You can plant your tomatoes, you can plant cabbage, you can plant whatever form of vegetables that you want. You can grow grasses for livestock and a whole lot of things. And years after, you can see where we are. It wasn't easy, but we didn't give up because we believed that it was possible. We invested so much in knowledge, locally and internationally. Several travels, outside Nigeria to learn, to see things, by the managing director of the company, coming back to pass information, pass knowledge to us, which we also took to several parts of Nigeria, Kano, Kaduna, Zaria. We traveled wild to let people know that, look, this was possible.
You cannot imagine my joy after we transplanted into the system. It was a floating bed system. And its gardener called me and said, you need to come and see what's growing here. I was seeing the growth. I was like, wow, you mean this is real? And it was growing. I remember one of the plants in that system was a squash. And the squash started fruiting, growing big. The lettuce, the cucumbers. I was like, wow. So it was a huge experience. I would really say a big thank you to Malam Nuru Ribadu for that kind of support, which actually builded, or let me say boosted the morale and gave us a lot of confidence. We shared the pictures in the social media and all that, and people were like, what? So you can actually grow without soil?
Because we didn't stop believing, and because we were so convinced that what we saw outside Nigeria, we can actually duplicate it here. Gradually, people started believing, people started investing, people started doing, practicing some of the little things we were telling them. You can have it at the back of your house. You can have food gardens at the back of your homes. You don't need to have very big farms to actually grow your food. We will sell to people that, look, you can actually plant whatever you desire to eat, even on subsistent farming, on subsistent level. Then those that want to commercialize it, we have perfect models today that can help you scale whatever it is you are doing. We can tell you, matter of factly, we have successfully gone through our trial period.
Then something happened. It is actually expected. We began to have certain issues. Crops started dying. They will grow to a level and they will start dying. I don't want to talk about too many technical things to growth. But one thing I could remember is we started having problem with toxicity at the root zone. You know, when you try to adjust for pH, we were using a certain material that it will bring down the pH, but it will add toxins to the root level of the plant. So the plant will start dying. And I was asking myself, what else can we do? What else can we do? Another part to it was we were building greenhouses. This came out of sheer imagination. I think I saw some few greenhouses. I tried to study it, but I didn't get certain components on the structure. Yeah, we built a very strong structure, called in fabricators, welders. We all brainstormed together, and then we tried to build greenhouses. But you know, when we built these greenhouses, at a certain time, they were coming down, especially during rainy season. You know, we were actually sewing the UV cover and nets. We're sewing them together. When every wind comes, boah, there goes the greenhouse. So the pressure began to mount up, and clients began to say, what's happening here? You know, the debts just started rising. It was like, my God, what are we going to do? So I knew it's time to learn more. And I began to look outside the country. Okay, is there a school where I can actually learn the act of growing without soil? I've studied a lot of materials. Then I found somebody online. He's an Israeli who had written a lot of journal, a lot of article in different top-level hydroponic journals. And then I followed the guy. Then at the time, I contacted him. And I discovered he lives somewhere in Cape Town. He has an hydroponics school called Hydroponics Academy. So I got in touch with him and I said, I need you to train me. And then it sent me the school fees. I looked at it, I said, wow, where would this come from? Well, a partner came on board and he said, let's fund this. You need to go for it, you know. And that was how I went for it. And going to Hydroponics Academy in Cape Town did a lot to the success of soilless farming in Nigeria.
Right now, we can almost go on auto cruise, on autopilot, adopting methods that are convenient, that are beautiful, precision farming, hydroponically grown. You can see all we have here. No soil, they're just substrates and they're beautiful. The plants are, you know, there are no infestations, there are no diseases, you have lesser things to worry about, and you know, it goes on and on.
It was a huge, massive breakthrough that I got from the training. I really want to say a big thank you to my teacher, Ben. Unfortunately, Ben is no more. You know, when I met Ben, Ben said, Debo, I've been following you after you contacted me, and I told myself, this is a young man with a lot of passion. We can do a lot in Africa. As at that time, Ben said he had visited Nigeria and he met with the government and he told them a particular plan he had for the country. But, you know, they didn't encourage it. He had a contract to develop certain tomato for Ains. That's the biggest ketchup manufacturer in the world, in Africa. And he felt Nigeria should be very useful and instrumental to this big project. But it was not encouraged, so he went back and he was doing his bit in South Africa there. And I told him, Ben, we can make this dream come true. We can do this together. So we began to strategize, and after I graduated from the school, you know, I came back to Nigeria and I told Ben, I think we need to do a sort of collaboration so that we can take the soilless farming dream to the next level. When I produced Here Now, everything changed. The problems we were having, I found a solution to it. That was when we started building commercial farms, you know. So I would say we didn't just start hydroponics, we started the commercial the commercial soilless farm or growing aspect, majorly in this country. We were the first set also to build commercial hydroponic farms. We're now building 240 square meter greenhouses and all that. So anytime I have issues, I get in touch with Ben. Oh, my nutrient solution mix is having, so just do this and all that. So I remember I had a particular challenge and I sent him a message and nobody responded. After about a week, I just got a message. Your Ben is no more. I said, what? Who am I speaking with? He said, Marlene, Ben's wife. I said, what, Marlene? We lost Ben. I think exactly a year after I left Hydroponics Academy. That was in 2017. It was a huge issue. It was as if a part of me died because I just thought about all the dreams we were planning for. What's going to happen? So I told Marlene, that's Ben's wife. I said, Marlene, I'm going to keep Ben's dream alive. Hydroponics is going to blossom in Africa. I can tell you that. And I'm going to continue to do my part. So I began to share pictures of what we're doing in Nigeria with Merlin. Particularly, Merlin called me and was crying. He said, Ben told me about you. He said, there's a guy in Nigeria doing wonders. And when she started seeing the pictures and, you know, and so many things that we are doing at BIC, he said, oh, how I wish Ben is still alive to see all this. I said, don't worry, Ben actually didn't die. Because his dream lives in me and it continues. And because of what happened to Ben, I also made a strong resolve to train a lot of people. I discovered that training is key if we are going to build a major industry and then towards solving hunger problem. So I told myself I will replicate myself in a lot of people. So I intensify our training, develop a better model with what I learned from Ben, and you know, so we now started the commercial hydroponics masterclass. So we began to train a lot of people, and it gave room to so many people in Nigeria who can boldly say we are doing something.
I started my soilless farming journey through enrolling for the Graduate Agripreneurship Apprentice Program at BIC Farm. That was where I got to know that it's possible to raise seedlings, to transplant plants in a soilless medium. Initially, I was used to the soil medium, but BIC Farm opened me up to the reality of practicing soilless farming here in Nigeria. And the 6 months training was a wonderful experience, an eye-opening one at that. Though it was challenging, but it's worth the time. And in the course of the training, we were posted to different regions, and I came to Okeo Farm and I completed my training here.
Although I have an agri background, but I wanted something new. I wanted to see something different from the old way. So I had to put in. I do tell people it all started with a training. 6-month training, rigorous training to be then, but now, glory be to God, the result of the training is speaking now. I met my father, I do call him my father, he's my daddy, Pastor Debo Onafowora. Someone said, when the student is ready, the lecturer will come forth. He really impacted me, and I am grateful to him. Soilless farming is now something very easy to me. I see plants as my paddies. I relate with them daily. What's wrong with your plant? So I got to know so many things about plants, especially in soilless farming, greenhouse technology, and innovation.
Soil is losing fertility every day, and there are a lot of challenges planting on soil. So farmers now are shifting to soilless farming, which is what the future holds. So in the next 5 to 15 years, it will be very hard to plant on the arable lands because the soil are losing fertility, and everywhere people build facilities and everywhere are being encroached with buildings, and we are losing out our fertile soil. So it's a brilliant idea. People should embrace, investors should embrace soilless farming because it's what the future holds when it comes to food production.
His concept is so novel, so innovative, because it actually addresses the issues of youth unemployment. It addresses the challenges of food shortage without necessarily taking on the burden of the drudgery of going to the farms. Because one, hydroponics is a form of technology. Two, it has the potential for massive creation of employment. Three, it has the potential to improve the standard of life of the people, of the communities where we are in. So in other words, the idea of hydroponics technology that BIC Concepts is championing is a complete representation of the vision and the mandate of the technology incubation program that is being pursued by Technology Incubation Center, Abeokuta. So, Technology Incubation Center, Abeokuta, and BIC Farm Concepts have become partners in progress through the creation of what we call an hydroponics cluster. Our vision and mission is to create an army of 600 hydroponics technicians across Ogun State within the space of the next 5 years. And we have started.